You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Welcome back to the Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about Jiu Jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a white belt who trains at Rogue Wave Jiu Jitsu and Martial Arts located in West Palm Beach, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Stephens.
Hey, Lamar, how are you doing?
Good. How's it going, sir?
Hello, hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Greetings from Florida. I can.
And welcome. Right, again. How's it going, sir?
Hello and welcome from Florida.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, there we go. All right. Because it didn't sound like you could hear me at first.
Hey, Lamar, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Just, always a good time to sit down and talk about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Man, the pleasure is all mine, sir. Let's get this ball rolling. If you want to formally introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear about your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah, my name is Eddie Stephens. I live in West Palm Beach, Florida. I am currently 51 years old. I started jiu-jitsu a couple years ago when I was 49. I train at the Rogue Wave Martial Arts here in West Palm Beach under Ryan Conforti. I've been doing it 2.5 years, but I am still a white belt. And I guess I would be a good example of someone that started jiu-jitsu late in life and not really having much of an athletic background. So I just dove right into it. And 2.5 later, I'm still trying to keep my head above the water.
Wow. So what got you started into doing jiu-jitsu?
Well, I started in April of 20, and that was right at the beginning of the end of the pandemic, and I just really needed some type of real human contact. So I did some research, and I wanted to do something that was challenging and uncomfortable, and I couldn't think of something more challenging and uncomfortable than jiu-jitsu. So dove right in and felt like a wave hitting you at a beach where you just get knocked over. But I know a lot more now than I did when I started.
Of course.
And it's been a great sport. I've been in one competition, which was crazy. And I'm just happy to show up, trying to go 3 times a week. But more realistically, probably 2. And every time I go, I get a little better than I was last time.
Yeah, man. That's how it's supposed to be. If you go, you show up, you have no choice but to get better.
Yeah. Now, I might not be great, but I'm probably in the best physical shape, and mentally, just doing these flows where you have to react, and your next move is based on what your opponent does. That's very much what I do in life. I'm an attorney, so physically having that those moves, replicate them again and again, and hopefully become muscle memory is very much the same, mentally what I do at work every day, reacting to people doing something and hopefully finding that leverage, posting and throwing it back at them. So it's a cool little, having the work thing and then doing it physically. It's very similar, just different.
Gotcha. So, starting jiu-jitsu at your age, which is, to me, no matter what the age is the perfect age to start is today.
Right.
So was you feeling any type of intimidation, or did you have any kind of like doubts or worries about when you started training?
Yeah, I thought I was going to get killed because the people I work out with, some of them are like serious athletes, and they train for real. And I've kind of let go of the whole ego thing, and these folks are now like my buddies. Some of them, really good friends, And I would never have had the opportunity, Lamar, to meet these folks, but for just showing up and doing something that scared me and was really uncomfortable. But once you start doing it, these people aren't going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's, every once in a while there's a dick, but most folks there want to train in a way that they don't get hurt, in a way, if it's playful, it's a little more fun and more engaging. And just, doing technique, competition training is another dog, but just doing technique, there's no reason to get hurt typically. Training in the competition takes it up a whole nother level. And I see people get hurt, either they're spazzing out and they don't really understand the flow of it yet, or they're in competition mode and they see red. But other than that, chances are, you're just gonna have a fun roll. Every once in a while, a dick comes by and is just a jerk, but I think those are pretty rare in our gym, and the whole community is pretty cool. And there's not too many dicks. Excuse my French.
Yeah, it's fine.
You use the word jerk, I guess. But in life, there's a lot of jerks walking by, and they just mess with your energy. And I've experienced that once or twice, but in a 2.5-year period, those are low odds.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, I've talked about that a lot. We've mentioned it on the podcast so many times when we talk about the camaraderie of jiu-jitsu. Because when you walk into this environment, it's like you're walking into like this tribe. You're trying to find your place. You're trying to make sure that you're not, bumping or stepping on anyone's toes, or you feel like, I'm just here as a hobby, and this person's doing this for like 8 hours a day. I don't want to get in this way. But like you said, these are the people that you meet, and they become your family. Like, these, people who, like you said, who train so much, who are high level competitors and do jiu-jitsu as, a daily thing, but they still will take the time out to help you because you do the same sport.
Yeah, that's the beautifulness of the welcoming of jiu-jitsu. And I think that people who take it seriously, they have an obligation to help people like me, and make me, feel like I'm not going to get hurt. And, where I work out, I've never, I've always felt part of the team, even when I competed. And our coach, we have 200 people now in our facility, which is, I think, a big number. And
huge number.
Our coach, Ryan Conforti, has this ability to like keep everybody, in kind of a cool collective mode where we are really looking out for each other. And again, if we're training with each other, the purpose is not to hurt each other. It's to practice the technique he puts in front of us and try to master it. And you do that in a way. And once we start rolling, we just pretty much practice those techniques, and depending on the intensity of the person you're rolling with. But again, I'm having a blast at the age of 52, showing up 6 a.m. in the morning with these guys. And some of them I've been working out with now for over 2 years. And again, I would never have met these guys but for showing up in a jiu-jitsu facility and saying, what is this about? And showing up the next time in shorts and a t-shirt, and slowly finding my way into a rash guard and eventually spats. And, it's a cool little ritual routine. And I like the things that go along with that ritual.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, that's funny because like once, like the more and more you dive into jiu-jitsu, the more your wardrobe changes. Like it starts with the simple stuff like, like gis and rash guards and, like you said, spats and stuff. Next thing you know, you be surfing online for t-shirts, and next thing you know, your whole wardrobe is strictly like jiu-jitsu stuff.
Not just my wardrobe, but like everything in my world. If I look at my social media now, I don't see all I see is jiu-jitsu stuff. And it's again, once you open that door, it's so hard to close it. But my vocabulary, I'm watching UFC now, and I never really watched sports before. My wife is more of an ESPN gal than I am. But on Saturday night, we got it on ESPN Plus. Now we're watching the prelims just this past weekend. It's cool.
It's funny, man.
Yeah.
Because like I can look on my social media now, and I think I probably have a few number of friends on Facebook, for example, and I want to say a good 80% of those people are from jiu-jitsu.
And all of my jiu-jitsu buddies are like so engaging on social media. They're like, "You did it, yeah!" And it's just the whole community just goes well beyond that 1 hour workout that you do in the rolling. So yeah, I would not have met these folks but for. So I'm really glad I stepped into the Rogue Wave facility and asked, what is this thing you guys are doing called jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I mean that's awesome, man. It's very, very awesome to hear someone, because this is your first school, correct?
Yes, I've gone to other places just to check them out, and I have done a bunch of different seminars with folks, but pretty much stayed in this one facility. Really like the coach, really like the people there. There's really no need to have more than one home. And
Right.
Plus it's 10 minutes away from my house. So I couldn't ask for it to be a better location. So
Not at all, man, because you have, like you're close by, you love the environment, it's very, very welcoming. So yeah, that's perfect. That's like best case scenario right there.
yes, I used to go to the 6 o'clock class, and then I had a health issue come up that I had to deal with. And now it's really hard to get to that 6 a.m. class. So making it to the 7:30 gi class more often than the 6 a.m. But these folks that show up at 6 a.m., religiously, they're really intense. They really want to be good at. They really want to be good at jiu-jitsu. And yet they still put up with the likes of me. So
you have to be a special kind of person to want to get up at 6 a.m. to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm one of those people. We used to have a 6 a.m. class, and I miss it so much.
Well, it was cool because like I'm a morning guy, and I have a pretty intense work. And once I hit work, it's hard for me to like think I'm going to go back and work out. So if I don't hit the 6 a.m. or the 7:30, I guess there's a noon class that I sometimes hit. But by then I'm pretty much already, my day has me, and it's not going to let go of me.
Yeah. It definitely has took over my life, like with my daily schedule, because we train Tuesdays and Thursdays mainly, and I don't plan nothing those days. Like Tuesdays and Thursdays are strictly for jiu-jitsu. Like I train at night, I work on my podcast all day, and that's Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's what I do, just all jiu-jitsu stuff.
And you put out a lot of content, Lamar. I was scrolling through your channel and watching some of these. You have a lot of people you've interviewed, so
yeah, man. I am closing up to 100.
We'll have to bake you a cake.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But let's kind of backtrack a little bit, because you said you competed. So yes. How was that? How was your first competition?
It was cool. It gave me something to work to. Again, I'm not the best physical specimen, so my coach came up to me before, and I'm going up against someone that's just huge. I mean, he's a white belt, but not too many people compete when they're in their 50s, so I had to go down in age and up weight. And so the guy I went against was like this Navy SEAL guy, and my coach comes up to me and says, "He's big, he's strong, And I'm like, is this what you want to tell someone, right? And he's like, if you're gonna win, you got to do it quick. So I didn't do it quick. I got killed 2 out of 3, but because there were only 2 of us, I did get silver.
Hey.
Yay! So my team got some points. And if for me, I'm doing this because I want to expand my comfort zone, and I didn't think I was going to get so nervous. And it was the World League BJJ or World League Jiu Jitsu. These different tournament people, and so they have you like in an hour block. You're going to compete this hour, so you got to be there 10 minutes before your hour starts.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a trial litigator, so it's very hard for me to get nervous. And when I got in that cattle pen where they line you up, I got nervous, and they take you down, and you're in front of the like an arena. Not like it's more than a gym; it's like a university gym, and there's stands and stuff, and your heart is going, and I had a physical phenomenon that I hadn't experienced since I was in trouble as a kid, where my nerves kind of took over, and I was nervous, like I've never been in a really long time, and it felt good to have all that adrenaline and cortisol pump through your body. And for like 30 minutes I had this rush that I had not had. I hadn't had that feeling since I was a kid. And then I did my matches, and they were over pretty quickly. I did not get hurt.
Always a plus.
My opponent was great. I think he recognized the situation and dealt with it accordingly. But he had big dramatic moves, and he got his gold. And my wife was watching. She was a little scared that my head was going to get ripped off. It did not. But that just shows you, whatever you present to this community, that the community kind of takes care of you. And it took my situation, and even though I didn't get the W, I got a great experience. I wasn't really expecting to win, but now I'm probably more comfortable doing something like that than I was. And next time I do it, we'll see if I have the same rush of cortisol. And my God, was I tired after that.
Oh yeah.
I slept really good that night, but to have all that stuff go through you in 45 minutes, and then you have your match, and I can't imagine doing gi and no gi. That would be a lot for your first time. I just did a gi match, but it was because there was 2 of us, the best of 3. Really cool experience. I would, it gives you something to work to. Competition training is different than technique. And after that moment, that's probably when I was in my tip-top shape, was working for that competition and working up to it. And that was in April, and now I've fallen back into just going twice a week without working to something. So I think it's good to have something that makes you work a little harder, at least for me, because apparently I need these little mental games to motivate myself to show up and do better. The games we play.
You are developing a jiu-jitsu mind, dude. That's all that is. I am that same way. Like I did my first tournament last year, and it was the best 2 out of 3. The guy was bigger than me, strong, and I got wrecked. It happens. And the second tournament I did both gi and no gi. Wait, was it the second one I did? No, the second one I did just gi, and the third one I did was both gi and no gi. And I have been in situations where I've cornered MMA fighters. So I've been in back in the locker rooms after people fights, and they talk about adrenaline dumps.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it happen. I've had my fair share of training, but going from training, rigorously training for a set amount of weeks, having these matches, is a whole different breed of adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
Because I was after the tournament, I'm driving home, and I think maybe like 10, 15 minutes into the drive, I started to feel it. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. I'm like, and I'm looking at the GPS, like, oh, I still got like 15 minutes. I gotta push it. So when I finally got home, man, I didn't even like I just crashed. I just like sat down, and next thing you know, I'm waking up at like 4 a.m. the next day, like, what the hell happened?
But you feel great, right?
I felt amazing.
It was a great night's sleep. Yeah,
I felt amazing.
It's very hard to try to describe, and I don't think I would have accepted the explanation. You just kind of have to go through it to see what that is about. But it hits you,
It hits you
for real. There's no way around that.
No, and there's no stopping it.
Yeah, I mean that's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu is that any time of day, it shows you exactly what you're made up of and what you're about, and there's no bullshit there. It is what it is, and there you go. But I certainly know my strengths and weaknesses in a much deeper way than I ever even contemplated them before I started jiu-jitsu. So just thinking about it, in that way, is pretty enlightening. Do you like gi or no gi better? Do you have a preference?
I do now.
What's that?
I do now. I have fallen more in love with no gi.
Is there a reason for the no gi love?
Man, to me, I feel like there's more freedom. I like the intensity of a no-gi match. I like the what's the word I'm looking for? The intensity of a no-gi match can get. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had some very, very good roles in a gi, but to me, I feel like no-gi, it's just more free.
Yeah,
everybody know
much more modern too,
Yeah, I don't have to worry about heavy clothes weighing me down, or I'm being held down by somebody who got grips or my on my gi or my lapel, and I'm so it's but that recently started happening. It wasn't like because my school is predominantly gi, so I've been training that way for like the past 4 or 5 years, and I just recently earlier. Yeah, like a few months before I did my first no-gi match, I started doing no-gi, and I'm like, yeah, I like this. I really, really enjoy this a lot. A whole lot.
No-gi is pretty cool. Gi is very restrictive, and I have the illness I have is called psoriatic arthritis, and because of that, it's hard to it hurts to grip. And in gi, that's all you do is you're controlling with grips, and no gi, you're still doing all that technique, but landing them in a way where you don't have to tweak your fingers.
That too. That's another big thing too as well, because I am an artist, so I love painting, drawing,
the use of your fingers.
The use of my fingers, my digits were very, very important to me. So especially with me, like one of my last job, I did like cell phone repair, and it's like you're trying to hold these small instruments and your fingers are throbbing, so it's like like I gotta save these, man. These are my money makers. So like as much as I love jiu-jitsu, love getting that gritty fight, man, but I need my fingers. So that's another reason why I switched to no-gi.
Yeah, in the beginning when I started, my cousin Teddy was helping me make these decisions and where to train and gi versus no gi, and he's like, Eddie, you should do gi because you're always in a suit, and of course if you get in a fight, it's going to be in a courtroom. And I'm like, no, it's probably not going to be in a courtroom. But I really don't wear a suit unless I'm in the courtroom. So I don't know. Gi is fun. It's traditional. No gi is kind of modern. That whole Eddie Bravo thing, it's more. It has an edge to it. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, man. It's don't get me wrong, man. Jiu-jitsu is definitely practical in some real life situations. I get what he was trying to say about, like, you were someone wearing a suit, so it kind of resembles a lapel or whatnot. But one thing you have to think about is that suit is not as durable as a lapel.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't. I don't necessarily see you really sinking in an X choke from someone in your guard if they got on a suit, because that's just gonna rip.
Origin makes my work suit, so they're pretty good. No, I'm just messing.
I
Yeah,
was like, unless you get some like Vulcan's, suits or
get the cool inner lining, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm so glad my facility has no restrictions on what you wear. Like some of these Gracie places where you have to go in wearing, their uniform or their look. We get some diverse people. The only rule is, if we have kids show up sometimes, so they have to be able to see it.
Gotcha.
So I guess, we got a little too crazy with some of the language or some of the graphics. But I am a good fan of a colorful rash guard.
Yeah, man. I love how modern some jiu-jitsu has gotten. Yeah, but there are some schools that still run that way. Like you have to wear a certain color rash guard, certain color gi. But seeing a lot of like gis and rash guards now where they're just like just crazy colors and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, man, my pockets are not ready. I am not ready for this. Dive into the lifestyle of buying, very exotic gis. But rash guards, man, I got quite a few of them. I have to admit.
Yeah, and for competition, you got to step it up, I guess.
Yeah, man, you got to show something that represents you, right?
Yes, I throw patches on my gi just to have some self-love, to show people what I'm about, but not too popular yet. Not too many people throw patches on their gi. I thought that would be like a good way of I don't know, like tattoos. But I have a bunch of tattoos too.
But I'm actually starting to see that now. Like a lot of people got, their gis, they got their names on the back. They kind of like NASCAR drivers now.
Well, if they get sponsorship, what better way to, if they're getting paid?
True.
If they can monetize it that way, support your habit any way you can. If you're good enough, then someone will pay to put their patch on your gi. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it at all. It's cool. Like I said, it's just cool to see, because that's something new that I haven't seen in jiu-jitsu. So it's steady evolving in aspects to that way. So I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, you can't do that at UFC. The whole thing is choreographed down to the, what shirt you're going to wear Friday night. But that is kind of a cool organization, and it's cool to see the grapplers there. As long as they sometimes those wild fists, like I was talking, and Nicky Rod was doing a seminar, and someone asked him, why don't you do UFC? And he just like, I really enjoy jiu-jitsu and I don't like getting hit, and the intensity of those fights are just a little too much. So I thought that was a pretty healthy regard to, not going too far and just staying, I guess, maybe in your lane a little bit.
Yeah, man. You're starting to kind of like slowly starting to see that, where athletes are trying to jump from sport to sport, boxing to MMA to boxing and stuff like that. And I'm kind of on the page of Nicky Rod. Like I like my lane. I like where I'm at. This is something that if I want to take serious, I can. If not, I don't have to worry about, I have to worry about injuries, but I don't have to worry about a concussion. I don't have to worry about, a broken jaw unless a choke or something gets cinched in too tight. But other than that, I don't have to worry about no one trying to punch me in the face. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, a little blood's okay. Too much blood, that's not cool.
Not cool at all.
But bloody lips, bloody noses, those are pretty.
Yeah, those are fine. Those are normal. A headbutt or two, but nah, I don't want nobody intentionally trying to punch me in the face. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Cheers.
So with your job, I know it has to be a very, very stressful job. How much have jiu-jitsu changed how you approach it?
Well, the big thing is like what it's done to my ego. And, you know, if you're a litigator, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose when you should have won. And that's just the odds of life. And I had a lot more difficulty with those losses before jiu-jitsu. Now, uh, losing is kind of part of that experience, and it's not losing in itself, but what from that experience did you gain that you can apply the next time you have that situation show itself. So I think it's much deeper that, it's matured me as a person, and I'm pretty immature. But, looking at things and looking beyond the experience of just win or lose, and, what does that experience hold for us? And, what did we get from that experience, and what are we learning from that experience? I'm much more looking at that than being upset that, I got a loss when I thought I should have got a win. So that helps. And again, when you're rolling and you're reacting to people, and you're reacting in real time physically, that rolling experience and exchange, applies to verbal exchanges and thinking of things and solving puzzles. And, I solve a lot of puzzles in life. It's just in an adversarial kind of in your face way. That's the lawyer thing, not the jiu-jitsu thing. And, dealing with people, I think it's made me more patient, less spazzy across the board, less spazzy, mellower. It's helped me everywhere, physically, mentally. It's done. It's why I keep showing up, because I see results.
I hear you.
So yeah, I think I'll renew my membership.
So I think I'm good for another month or two.
Yeah, we roll for the year membership, so I got to do that coming up.
Gotcha. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, I can't talk about that enough when it comes to talking about jiu-jitsu. How's it helped me? How it had helped me outside of just going and training, man. Just being able to deal with the everyday life from work, just home stuff, and just being able to find your happy space mentally, man. Because without jujitsu, I can't tell you where I would be, and I hate to think about where I would be if I didn't find find jujitsu. So, but yeah, man, just being able to keep myself calm, keep myself mellow. I avoid conflict like the plague. As much as I know I can defend myself, I'm not necessarily worried about anything when I go out. But at the same time, it's like I don't necessarily want to be put in situations where I will have to. So
yeah, I think you're looking at the world through different eyes.
Yeah, because I think the more violent you become in a training aspect, the more calm you become on the outside, because you have a place where you could get out that frustration.
Right, and you're doing it a couple times a week, and I guess the more you have it, the less you need it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm much more on a recreational level. I'm not really getting into fights with people at my stage in life. But it's good to know that if someone does something, I just, take their back and rear naked choke them out. And I think there's something, if you haven't been choked out ever, I think that's an experience that, is interesting and humbling. And, I didn't mean to get choked out, but I tapped a little late and I got a little, and my coach choked me out once just to show me what it was like in a very controlled way. And, that experience I never had that, growing up, and just this kind of contact with other people. Um, I I hug my kids and my wife, but rolling around with folks, whether it's a girl or a guy, it's you're touching in a way that is pretty close,
It's
and
personal. Yeah,
yeah,
very personal.
and it's certainly not in any kind of hedonistic way, but it's part of what you're doing there. It's part of the exercise that's in front of you. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if you don't have that in your life and you're not out there breaking a sweat, what are you doing?
exactly.
I look back, I'm like, I didn't have this in my life for 49 years, and imagine, I would almost be at coral belt if I started at the right time.
Yeah, man. I think about that too. Like, man, because my daughter, she trains, she's like a four stripe white belt. And, she caught on to so much stuff so fast. And just being able to sit down and teach her has been nothing but, nothing short of amazing. But I think about like, man, if I could have started when she started
Mm-hmm.
at that age, oh
World
man,
domination.
I'll be a beast right now. I'll be part of like Danaher Hit Squad or something at this point.
The B team. But I started at 49, and fate is what it is. So I'll just be
Yeah,
myself and be happy to be chugging along at my own pace, and
right.
not really chasing stripes or belts or anything. Just happy to show up and have the experience.
That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
have you thought about competing again, or that was just like I just wanted to experience it and then kind of done with it?
yeah, I'd like to. This medical condition sometimes takes me out of the game, and I'm trying to figure out how, is this going to get better, or do I just have to deal with this? And so I'm kind of in that stage of things. I would like things to get better, but um, that may not be happening. So, getting older, you just have to kind of deal with the mortality of your body is not going to hold up like it did. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And, I'd like to hit the mats 3 times a week. And I'm like, my hands hurt, or this medication is making me feel funny, or I have a bunch of excuses. But the bottom line is, no matter what, you just got to get out there and just keep showing up. So
Yeah, man.
I'm not going to worry so much about whether or not it's working or I'm getting better, because it's probably not going to get better. So I'm just going to go out there and show up and do my best and try to stop complaining about things.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna worry about it tomorrow.
Yeah, no one likes to hear you complain anyways. So just suck it up.
Yeah, and I'm that way, man. Like I'm there's been days I'm tired, body is in like immense pain, back, knees, arms, fingers, everything would be in pain, but I'll be more mad if I did not show up to class.
Yeah.
Knowing I should be resting. Knowing I should be resting. But nope. I am in my car. I'm on my way to the gym. I'm wobbling and hobbling in, but I'm going to train. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to train.
Yes. So the goal is 3 times a week, and I think that's for recreational. That's probably a good number to hit if you can.
Yeah, that's perfect because the average is what, two days a week.
Mm, at my facility, it seems like it's much higher than 2, but
Well,
this
yeah, you
was
got like 6 a.m., 7, 9, 12. You got
they're
like five
there.
classes a day. So
Some of them they're there a lot, and it's cool to see. Like, I started off with these guys, and they were white belts, and some of them are like purple belts now, and they're doing awesome. But they're there all the time too. So it's cool to see their progress, and
yeah,
you don't really you're not like, everybody's at their own pace. It's not like something that you compare with others. It's just you do what you do, and eventually, you know, something happens. So
yeah. you can always it's always best to know that you are in this race with yourself.
Yes.
Just because you start with somebody and you blink, you're still one way, and they still they might have advanced further than you, but that's okay. That does not mean that your jiu-jitsu is any worse than anyone else, because just because your belt does not change does not mean that your understanding and knowledge of the sport has not haven't. So
So, yeah, I enjoy showing up, learning new things, and physically and mentally, every time I show up, I feel like I'm getting a little stronger.
yeah, and that's the best way to look at it, man. Because I can say for a fact, man. As long as I've been training, there will be moments while I walk around like I feel like I'm Superman. Like like you said, like you have the knowledge, you have the understanding, so you'll go around. You might see someone, and it's like, yeah, I can take that guy. Like I can take out everybody here if I wanted to, but
I get happy when I see the trial guy walk in. I'm like, he's mine today.
like he just don't know it yet.
No, but then you end up teaching them. So,
Right.
and you inspire them to come back it's cool. It's a big
Yeah,
circle.
man. Big circle. Because we were all that trial guy.
Oh yeah.
We was
I
all
was,
that
I
trial
was,
guy.
I was the epitome of it because I was overweight. I didn't even do cardio back then. And getting out there, just doing the warm ups gassed me. So I've come a long way in 2.5 years.
Yeah, man. That is like I said, that is very beautiful to hear, man. And this is, you are a prime example of, you start jujitsu when you're available to start jujitsu. There is no time restraint on jujitsu. Like once if you can get out there, just get out there and do your best, and have fun and enjoy.
Yeah, and 2.5 years later, I'm not great, but I'm doing it. So,
Right.
and that's all that matters to me is I'm out there getting exercise, doing the
Hmm.
stuff, making friends, but taking myself out of my comfort zone and making me comfortable with a whole lot more than I was used to. Um,
Oh yeah.
so that's a beautiful gift that has been given to me.
Yeah. And I can say the same thing for this podcast, man. If it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, I I wouldn't have met so many wonderful people who was willing to sit down and talk to a complete stranger for an hour about a sport we all love.
Well, Lamar, it's nice to meet you. Cheers.
Likewise, likewise. All right, Eddie, man, we have a staple here at Talk Your Jits podcast, man. We ask everyone who comes on the show, past or present, man, 3 people you would love to get a chance to roll with.
Wow. Um, I mean, pretty much our studio, we 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 have some really cool people come in, and I've never really had to think about that because they feed us such a cool supply of awesome people like Gil Burns, and we just had Nikki Rod and John Combs, and so I've never wanted because our facility has always like fed us. Every 3 weeks we have someone awesome coming in.
Oh, that's
Um,
dope.
so I can't even comprehend your question, Lamar, because our give it up to our guy Ryan Conforti. But like every 3 weeks, we have someone amazing come in, and you know, um, I don't even know the caliber of these people, and then I roll with them, and then I'm like researching them. I'm like, holy cow, this guy, could have ripped my head off, and instead, we had a good roll. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I
That's
haven't.
you are the first to say that.
That's the only way I can answer that question, Lamar.
Hey, that's the best answer, man. It's like you don't need to dream it because you already roll with a lot of them.
Yeah, well, if you're ever in South Florida, come check us out.
I got to, man. I got so many. As you can see, I have so many gyms to visit.
Yeah, you should like everywhere you go, they give you a rash guard of the gym, and then you're decked out for life.
Man, that's as ironic as that is one of the goals of mine, man. I want to be able to go visit every school that I've interviewed, and get like a rash guard or a patch or something, or have them send me something. I want to make like a big collage of it to kind of like commemorate all the wonderful people that I've met in this sport.
With almost 100 episodes, that's a huge number. So you might have to be more selective than everybody. Like everybody that has a cool logo or awesome rash guard or
something.
All right, everybody. We'll just do everybody.
Everybody. I would like everybody to have something placed on the wall or whatever. But I'll figure it out. I haven't thought about it as that much, but yeah, I'm going to put something together where I can get. If I have to go get them myself, I'm going to try to find a way. But it's definitely a big goal of mine to do so.
Yeah, our coach or the person who owns Rogue Wave, with all these cool seminars, one day we walk in and there's pictures of everybody that's given a seminar, giving their seminar, and it's like on the wall. So he's like the way he thinks is very artistic, and it's just a cool approach to marketing and stuff. So in South Florida, Rogue Wave Martial Arts, come check it out.
Yes, man. Yes. I was just about to say, man, if there's anything else you wanted to ask, man, by all means, if you got anything coming up that you would love to share, go ahead. If you want to shout out your school, which you already done, but the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I have no agenda, just happy to be in better health. And if you are curious and you haven't really done this before, if some old attorney like me can get on those mats, and at the end of the day, I'm the one mopping those mats because, we let the lowest rank belt do it. So, just that whole experience is something everybody should have in their life. Just going through those steps, and it doesn't matter where you are in life. When you walk in these doors, this is how you're treated, and, with respect and care and love. But, there's some rules you got to follow too. So it's just cool. Like you said, that tribe, it's really cool being a part of that tribe. It's a good description, Lamar. I think we do refer to ourselves as a war tribe. So
we're definitely a war tribe.
We tribe it up. So thank you for having me on your show, Lamar. I really appreciate your invite, and it was cool getting to hang out with you and chit chat about jiu-jitsu.
Likewise, man. And I wish you the best on your journey, man. Once that white belt turn blue, man, let me know. We can have you back and we can talk about it.
Yes. If it turns, I will let you know.
Man, thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Lamar, great to meet you.
Yes, sir. And that's it, man. That's the end of today's episode. I would love to thank Eddie one more time for coming on the show and bless us with his jiu-jitsu knowledge. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please go and follow our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits Podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.